This video will explain how to do a radiative heating surface and a radiative cooling surface. At the time of recording this video, DesignBuilder does not allow one surface to be both a heating source and a cooling source for a zone. So if you have both of those, a radiative heating and cooling loop, you're going to have to add a chilled ceiling and a heated floor. The problem with this is that Energy Plus, which is the engine that DesignBuilder uses, does not allow two different types of radiative sources within one surface. This is because it treats the ceiling of one floor as the floor of the floor above it. So you couldn't have, like a chilled pipe, a bunch of insulation, then a hot pipe in the floor. So if you have both of those stacked on top of each other, you have to do a little trick to get around that. If you only have radiative heating or radiative cooling, you don't need to do this step, but if you have both on multiple floors, you need to do this. So we're going to start by taking this and just moving this out of the way, the top floor. Now we're going to add a new block, and we're going to change this to be something small, so like half a foot or something. And then we're going to put this on top of the floor below. Alright. And now we're just going to move this floor back on top of it. Okay, so now we want to go to this block, and we're going to turn everything off. So we're going to go to turn off activity, occupancy, equipment. We're going to turn this into no glazing, even though it didn't show any on the outside. And we're going to turn off lighting, and then we're going to turn off all HVAC connections. So basically this is you can think of this as a drop ceiling. It's just an air gap now. It doesn't do anything. So this allows us to use this block as the chilled ceiling, and also allows us to have the heated floor, because now these two things are separated in this zone. There's like a zone between the two surfaces. So what we want to do now, you want to go back into the HVAC system, go to our zone group, and then if you move a floor, it will remove them from the zone group. So you want to make sure that all the zones that have this are in the same group. Then we're going to add a heated floor and a chill ceiling. It'll automatically put it in where it needs to go. We want to go back to the zone group, edit the zone group, heating and cooling calculation sequence, and you want to specify in which order you want the heating and cooling to go. So like for heated floor, okay, I want the priority to be from the floor. If that maxes out, I want some more from the VAV with reheat. And then lastly, it's a chill zone. You can't just put, no. It'll be in third place. Obviously, you won't use the chilled ceiling as a heating source, but you need to specify it anyway. And then again, for the chill ceiling, I want the ceiling to be priority, the VAV secondary, and then the heated floor tertiary. So once we have all that done, we have to go into the hot water loop and demand side and connect the components. Same as we did before. Out arrow to out arrow, and in arrow to in arrow. For the heating and cooling. Alright. Now at this point, if you try to run it, you'll get an error. And that's because we need to go into the constructions and specify where in the construction each of these elements are placed. Uh, it, I find it easiest to kind of start and work my way backwards. I'm going to start on level 2 and go to the roof. So I go directly to here. We go to construction, and we see the name of the roof being used in this zone. I do this because sometimes what you see if you go to like the project template, like this project construction template, and what's being actually used in the floor are different. So this way you can double check to make sure you're using the right thing. So we're going to double click on that, and you can't edit like these things directly. So just make a copy of it and edit. And I have to think about this. So we have the innermost layer and then the outermost layer. So the outermost layer is so that's outside, more inside, innermost layer. So we want the internal source between levels. Like you can't put it as the outermost source; it has to be between two sources. So let's just go in here and insert a layer. Wrong place. Sorry. Let's add some insulation. So I'm just gonna pick this one. Doesn't matter. Cool. So we go to internal source. Click that there's internal source, and this is after layer 4. You see, so as after this layer, before this layer, so it's right in here is where this internal source is. And click OK. Click OK. Now this has changed. Now you can go to building and you go to construction. You can see flat roof. This is what we were doing. So project flat roof. Now we can change this to our copy of project flat roof, and that'll change the lab, all the other things as well, the copy and stuff like that. So now we have to do the floor. So we see project internal floor. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to copy it, edit it. So we have concrete, but we're going to add internal source. So let's just add two layers. So I'm going to change this from concrete to something else. Let's just, let's just go to carpet. There, this one. And then change it to like something thin. All right. So now we have some insulation in. Again, it doesn't matter what I'm picking. It's just an example. And then concrete. Okay. And then 5. Okay. So we have 3 layers. So we want the internal source. We have to specify there's an internal source, and it's after layer 2. So it's between these two. So between the carpet and the insulation. So that is our heated floor and our chilled ceiling done for level 2. So we're going to click OK. Then I'm going to do the same thing, go to the building layer, and then change this to the copy of project internal floor. Now what we have to do is we have to go to this block zone and change the floor, because you only specify floors, you don't specify ceilings. In Energy Plus you do, but the ceiling has to be the floor in reverse order. So same material, same, but just the construction is opposite. DesignBuilder does that for you. So I only specify the floor, and because this isn't, you have to realize this isn't a heated floor, this is the chilled ceiling for the flow below it. We need to reverse how this is done. So I'm going to make a copy of this, and then I'm just going to keep it like this, and then name it chilled. So basically what we want to do is just kind of reverse this so this behaves like the chilled ceiling of level 1. So that's why this is kind of difficult. So we need to just, I'm just gonna um, change this. So like it doesn't have to be, anything. It doesn't have to be opposite. It can be whatever you want. I'm just doing this so I don't have to change a bunch of things. A bunch of things for multiple times. So I mean, you can. It doesn't have to. It doesn't I mean this just happens to be the reverse of what I was doing, but it can be anything you want it to be. Um, so you could put like the floor there, and then we still have the internal source. But what we have to do is we have to change this to after layer 1, because okay, the outermost layer of the floor is the innermost layer of the ceiling. So that's kind of the tricky part about this. So if you want, now we have the radiative system here between these two. So that's how we change that. And we don't change anything on the building level because that's just the like that small air gap zone thing. And the last thing we need to do is change the ground floor the same way. So copy, edit, and then I'm just going to add something. And then after layer 3, we have 4 layers. Can't be the othermost layer, so it goes right there. Go to building. All right, and now we're just going to go click on the simulation tab to make sure everything is working. And then I just do something simple like the typical week or something. And after it does this, if it runs, then everything is working, pretty much. Later, we'll talk about simulating and analyzing results. This explains how to go about making radiative systems.